I don't know if you're religious. I don't know what your background is, but I didn't want to jump into it on the last episode, being as my first time just even publicly speaking like that.
Right, right.
But
This is a show about things we struggle with, the ones we don't always talk about. Each episode is a real conversation meant to remind us that speaking honestly about what we're carrying doesn't make us weak. It's about finding clarity, encouragement, and the reminder that we're not alone in the struggle. This is Wonderfully Difficult.
so thanks for having me back. I listened to it that first time and I felt like, man, I could really dive in a little deeper, peel a couple layers back. So again, thanks for having me.
You you're not the first person that's been a guest that's came on and watched their episode back and was like, man, I should have said this and I should have did this and I wasn't expecting it to feel like this and I wanted to, I guess it's like watching film, playing a sport. You watch the film and you study it and
Yeah, man,
get better.
that's a great description right there because that's exactly what it felt like.
Well, not that you didn't do good. You did great. It was a great episode.
I felt real good. I did see a lot of things that I could do better, but overall, I was happy with how it went. And like I said, there was a few things that I wanted to touch in deeper on because I know a lot of people may be feeling the same way I feel, but maybe they're not going through a breakup, or they obviously don't have my wife. So there's things that other things that really help me get through tough times that I think I could touch on that would help a lot of men out there. Uh, so another big one that we didn't speak on that first time is the value that you add. So just adding value. What does that mean?
Kind of goes along with the purpose in the same type of vein.
Yeah, it absolutely can. But I know when I was having one of my toughest times in life, it was crazy how it correlated to how much value I was producing out there to the real world outside of myself. I was kind of real self-centered, and ironically, it was a real low point in my life. And I feel like that when you take that shift off of yourself and you focus on what kind of value am I adding to the real world, it will help you get out of those low places. So for me, it was through my labor. And it wasn't, I didn't always feel that value. I had jobs where, it was kind of just getting up and going to work and
just hitting the old clock. That was it.
Just hitting the clock. Yeah. Didn't really care. Didn't really think too much into it. Just how it tied into day to day life. And then when I finally got into, doing like construction work and home renovations and stuff, it really gave me a good satisfaction just seeing, these families that you're helping,
right. I've seen some videos that you had posted a while back of like the before and after, and it's like, man, like I think it was a bathroom, I think that I was looking at the time, and that gives you like some. I did that.
Yeah, man.
You know what I mean? Like
it's a really
like
good
whole
feeling.
different deal.
A really good feeling, and now I've moved away from that, and I'm in fire protection, but it's that same exact feeling,
right?
And I feel like if you're going through low times, really search for like that value that you're adding to the world, and maybe you're not adding enough. Maybe you need to do a little more.
Yeah. It could be hard though for some people. That I guess it also depends on the level of depression or the level of darkness that you're currently in, because I feel like right at first, maybe even yourself, when you first got in there, I don't think you could just jump straight to adding to the world. You know what I mean? Like there's a process that you have to go through to get to that. But I feel like that is ultimately what will
It's one of
bring
the
you out
steps.
of it. You know what I mean? Like that's
Yeah.
like towards the middle end. But once you can get to that train of thought, though, I feel like the rest is like dominoes. You know, you just knock that first one down and
Yeah.
off we go.
Yeah.
But then I guess that kind of leads into you got to be honest with yourself in a way. I guess by being honest with yourself, it's again, like we said last episode, it's so easy to talk about the steps and the process when we're sitting here in this environment, but it's a whole different ballgame whenever you're applying it.
Right. It's something that you're struggling with, health wise. I'm really trying to keep it speaking on my past because that's what I can relate to.
Right.
I don't want to take it off a topic too much. So,
Right.
and I hate to just sit here and keep it centered around me. It's
I
weird.
mean, it's your
It's a weird
episode.
conversation, but yeah, man. So back on getting healthy, and how that ties in with your mental health and just overall how you're feeling. Man, I know you heard the terms "you are what you eat." And
Yeah.
man, it's crazy how what you eat can determine how you feel and how it can work against your purpose towards your health goals. So let's say you're a person that's trying to get in shape right now.
Right.
Where I would start at is knowing what do you do on a day-to-day basis without changing anything.
Right.
Because too many people jump into this hard diet or this hard workout and they have no idea what they're doing right now on a day-to-day basis.
Right.
So what you want to do is say you're trying to lose weight and you're starting today. So I would say, Tyler, what you need to do is let's figure out your calories.
Right.
And let's figure out what you do every day for a week without changing anything. And then from there, we're going to build off that. And then from there, we'll make our adjustments. Tyler, you had 4,000 calories every day, all week. So next week, we're going to drop it down to 3,800.
Right.
A lot of people, they're making that mistake, one, not knowing what they're doing. And then they say, okay, well, I'm going to do 1,500.
I'm going to do 12.
Or 12. And it's such a dramatic difference that is unsustainable. And
it'll carry them for 2 weeks and then.
Yeah. And then and they just stop. And you could apply that same method to anything. It doesn't have to be, losing weight or whatever. But it's important to be honest with yourself and know what you're doing. Track what you're doing. Because that will really move against your purpose if you don't know what you're doing.
Right. Knowledge is power, right?
Yeah, man. The knowledge is power. It's definitely you need to know, because if you don't know, then what do you know?
Right. You just the blind leading the blind type thing. Yeah, but I feel like that's probably, I'm no health expert by any means, but that makes total sense. People, I've been there. People try to go too hard, too fast, out of left field. It'll work for a month. It'll work for 2 weeks. It'll work for a very, very short period of time. And then eventually you'll just give up on it, because it's not, like we talked about on the last episode, it's not instant. It takes commitment over an extended period of time, because you didn't get unhealthy in a week. You know what I mean? You didn't gain 80 pounds in 3 days. So you're not going to lose 80 pounds in a week, because that's not how none of this works. So, but people lose the fire. Like we talked about, people cheering for you at the beginning. And then once it gets to that middle where nobody's there anymore, you're just like, well, we'll try again later. We'll try again later. We'll try again after this, or well, maybe next year, or, then you start, you'll never get to where you're going, whether it's health or anything in life, if you're constantly making excuses for yourself. Like I'll do this, or you're negotiating with yourself too much. And whenever you can stop negotiating with yourself, then you can see true, growth or true change. Whenever you're like, no, this is the plan and we're sticking to it. And there's no negotiating with anything. This is what we do and this is how we do it. End of story. Not, oh, well, if we can do this, we'll try to do
there
that.
There has to be some standard.
Right. And then that's where they say discipline, give me discipline over raw ability, because eventually your raw ability is only going to get you, so far. Your discipline will get you. You don't even know where it'll take you if you stay disciplined throughout the entire process.
Yeah.
Kind of like, I think you touched on it a little bit previously about, I think you said you were always kind of athletic and you were always kind of that good enough. You know what I mean? Like, so take even you, for instance, where would you be in life had you had the commitment and the drive that you do currently if you would have had it when you were 14 or 12? You know what I mean?
There's no telling where I'd be. I know, like, I would be somewhere great, but I don't know if it would be greater than where I'm at right now. It would be a different aspect, you know, because the way I feel right now, it's just like how we said, and that's how, like we said before, when those things are happening at the time, you want them all to work out, and that can make it to where you're not where you're at now. And right now, it's like, would I trade it if I went back? I wouldn't. I love my life. I love my family. I wouldn't change a thing.
Right.
But man, that is a question. Like, where would you be? Because I was, although, I was real athletic and I made that statement, like it wasn't never an effort issue for me. I always tried hard.
Right.
I just didn't put in the extra work that it takes to really excel and get to that next level. But whatever I'm doing, I do it hard.
Right.
So
hard.
Real hard.
But yeah, I mean, I guess it's kind of a catch-22 in a way. I mean, I understand what you're saying and I agree with what you're saying. As far as you wouldn't have changed it because you are where you are. But then I don't want someone to. That's not an excuse. I mean, like, I don't want somebody to be watching it going, oh, well, see, look, he didn't change and now he's so happy where he's at, So like, I don't want them to be like, oh, maybe I shouldn't change.
Well, we don't want you to feel the pain and everything that we went through to get to this point. So it can be avoided and you could still be as happy with your life as I am with mine.
Right. I guess that's kind of one of the main missions of the podcast. It's like, hey, man, maybe if we can touch somebody that's on the cusp of going down the road that we've been down, and maybe we can avert crisis mode for them. Maybe we can change before we feel the pain. I know that's again, this table, boy, we could solve it all. We got all the answers. But that kind of leads it into like fatherhood and parenting. Like, I mean, how many times, put yourself in the shoes, you're giving advice to your children because you've been there, you've done that, and you don't want them to have to experience it. And hey, look, if you listen to me and do this, this, and this, you'll be good. But rewind the clock back some more to whenever that was you and your parents were telling you, hey, I got all the answers for you right here, bud.
Yeah.
Just read this and follow this and you'll be good. And you were like,
nah,
I don't like it.
Right. Yeah. And it's crazy how everything comes in full circle. And, we're talking about last episode, I made the statement of, am I giving my kids enough, or am I even possible to? And when it comes to of this world, it's absolutely not yet. I've come to that conclusion. I can't. But, when you start thinking of a deeper purpose and what's actually going on, I realize that I absolutely can. Well, I can lead the horse to the water, but I can't make the horse drink it. And I don't know if you're religious. I don't know what your background is. But I didn't want to jump into it on the last episode, being as my first time, just even publicly speaking like that.
Right.
But now I wanted to dive in on some of the things that really helped me and that is helping me become an even better man. Like, I'm making those strides to be a better man, climb that ladder, and it's harder than ever. But here I am now putting my faith in God more than ever. And I'm really feeling and seeing those fruits come out throughout my life. And, I really got to thank my wife for that.
Shout out.
Yeah, shout out to my wife again and my son Brantley. They were the two people that really opened my eyes up. And I was never a religious person, and I'm not even sure if I would consider myself religious right now. Or I don't even know if I want to say it like that, because I've been at such a crossroads. Like, I've always believed in God.
I don't really think that I don't think there's a justification needed. You know what I'm saying? Like you feel how you feel, and it doesn't really need a title. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
I wouldn't
it
worry
does.
about trying to
Well,
explain it too much.
yeah. Well, I felt that way my whole life,
Right.
and now I'm diving in deeper in the Bible and into my faith and just life in general, and I'm realizing, yeah, it does need that title. There are gods out there,
Right.
and so when you have somebody praying for you or doing anything for you, and they just say God, that's leaving it open
Right.
to whatever they got going on in their world and their reality. So for me, I've always had an issue about Jesus Christ, or should I say Jesus? And it wasn't like a real issue. I believe Jesus, I just didn't know Jesus. And you hear the stories of his mother becoming pregnant, not having sex.
Right.
Jesus rising from the dead. You almost think of it as a fairy tale, as not real.
Right.
Just if you compared it to what we live on in the day to day life. Well, until you get deeper and you compare it, because a lot of people's argument with Christianity and all that are those exact things that I just said. It's like, listen to yourself, man.
Right.
A woman
You
just
said this
got
ain't Harry
pregnant.
Potter?
Like,
Yeah,
what are
right.
you talking about? But you look at these things right here, and if you brought these back 100 years ago and set it on somebody's table,
Right.
and they took a look at it, they would be like, it would be just as unrealistic as what we just said.
Right. You wouldn't know how to explain it.
Right. You wouldn't know how to explain it. So as I'm diving in deeper and growing my faith, I just wanted to really throw that out there and let people know that if you search for it, I believe you'll find it. And I mean, really search for it. It's deeper than just saying I believe in God and you
find what
I'm
you're looking for.
spiritual. Yeah. It's exactly like we was talking about. You mentioned the punch buggies. How many punch buggies did I send you since that last episode?
I went to go take a picture and send you one, but it was gone before I could. But yeah, I think there was 4 or 5 that you had messaged me and we saw. But yeah, same principle applies. You find what you're looking for.
Yeah, man. So definitely, I challenge everybody to look inward. And I realized that a lot of the problems, the issues that I was having was with man. And another one of my biggest struggles growing up is just like a self worship of, I gave myself too much credit, and I give myself too much credit for everything.
Right.
And as I'm leaning more onto my faith and stuff, I'm realizing that I'm nothing.
Right. In the grand scheme of things.
Yeah, in the grand scheme of things, and even in this podcast right now, all glory to Him, because without Jesus Christ, my Savior, I don't I don't know if I would be able to keep putting the pieces of the puzzle together. I don't know all the answers, and I'm not done with that puzzle. But man,
Right.
it's been such a crucial point and pivot in my life within the past 7 years, and it really is all to Him. And it goes even deeper. It is real easy for me to say this stuff now. It's like the hindsight is because I already made it through some of those trials and tribulations.
Right.
Uh, the background story with my wife. I met my wife one summer, and after that, we didn't speak to each other for 7, 8 years.
Oh, wow.
We were just friends. We just met.
Right.
We just met at a mutual friend's house, and that was it. Spoke a couple times that summer, but never did see each other. Maybe more than 2 or 3 times, and there was nothing ever more than that. It was just always a group of people. So we go on our separate ways. I
Right.
live my life, obviously, have Jenna, go through all that. And my wife, she actually moved to Florida. She stayed out there in Florida for a while. And mind you, this is 7, 8 years from when we met at the bar one night, and I run into her. From there, like we've been ever since.
Right.
And for me, it's like, you see that grand scheme of things. I seen it at the end. I see the result now. And at the time, I wasn't thinking like, man, God really put her right there. Like just her, us meeting. Because if we never even met, like we wouldn't have crossed those paths at
Right.
the bar.
If you would have saw her at the bar that time, you wouldn't have put
Right,
it together.
it wouldn't have worked out how it did. So it really everything happens full circle, and something might be going on in your life right now that you don't realize is going to be that connecting piece.
Right. And then as far as I guess, I'm not a terribly religious person, but I'll never put down on the next man for anything that anybody wants to believe in. If it brings you happiness, then I'm all for it, man. And I don't see how believing in that wholeheartedly would be a bad thing.
Right.
Because it's literally just
And that was
step by step.
Another thing that I would dive in deep on with it is, like, what am I really questioning?
Right.
Like just the principles of Christianity and God and Jesus. Like what is it that I'm disagreeing with?
Right.
And like I said, a lot of the issues that I was having was with man.
Right.
All the people that's done wrong with the church. For the longest time, I would take it out on the church.
Right.
When in reality, we're having church right here. What we're doing right now, this is considered church.
Right.
And I want to challenge everybody to really search inward, because I know there's a lot of people who feel like I felt my whole life. Like, yeah, something's
happening.
yes, there's something out there, but until you really start searching, and I mean really wholeheartedly make that decision,
Right.
I believe you'll see that the answers are right here.
Right.
Yeah, like they're in front of you.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I mean, that's a pretty huge topic. You know what I mean? That's
Yeah, and that's why the first episode, like I mean, we were saying these things, and
Right.
I wanted to come out with it. So, like who's gonna save the hero, and
Who's gonna save Superman?
Right, that's who it is, and we have been saved.
Right.
As long as you accept it.
Right.
But you have to accept the invitation, and that doesn't mean like you see all these people not living by what they preach, and that's a really bad thing. And right now, I'm saying these things, and I still do a lot of wrong, and I want to do a lot better, and I'm in pursuit of doing better.
Right.
So that's something that you got to make sure that you're doing is
Right.
practicing what you're preaching for sure.
Right. And then I guess that like as far as like this whole podcast principle, you know what I mean? Like I don't know, it's not necessarily a religious thing. It's a let's let's do what's right thing.
Yeah. And through that, yeah, you were doing God's work.
It kind of goes hand in hand with what you're saying, so.
And for me, when we talk about religion and Christianity and what I believe in, it's like my statement starts with I am, we are.
Right.
I believe that we are an extension of God, the creator. We are connected to the infinite source. All we got to do is plug in.
Right.
So like a lot of like Muslims, for example, they have a lot of the same principles. They believe the same thing, but they don't believe that Jesus was God. And I can understand that argument,
Yeah, because they don't think the Messiah has came back or something.
I don't know the full the full
basically
context.
Like you said, they're like Jesus.
But I do know that they don't believe that Jesus is God. They believe Jesus was an incredible person and was great, and they just don't worship Jesus.
Right.
And I think that, like, basically the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit, the Trinity, that Jesus is God, and I think that extension is also given to us too.
Right.
I believe that we can plug in, and Tyler, you are God. I am God. Now, am I God? Absolutely not. But yes, I am God.
Right. And then I guess, like, I mean, in my own experience, I guess, as far as like my view on it, like I don't, like when I say I'm not a very religious person, I mean, I guess I kind of am, because I do know what's wrong, I do know what's right, and I try to do right by people, and but like you said, the problem with man, like there's been so much manipulation, especially in that category of religion, like because there's so many veins, there's so many pockets of to get diluted. Like, well, these I'm not going to call anybody out, but these type of people believe that you have to do this, and this to be anointed or be a part of the clique. But then these people believe that you got to do this, or this. You know what I mean? Like there's so, but to me, that's, I'm not a huge Bible person. I can't give you quote verse all that. Either. You know what I mean? But I'm almost certain that there's nowhere in there that tells you that you need to perform these certain acts in life besides kindness and all those things. But like I don't have to wear my clothes a certain way or wear my hair a certain way or not do, you know what I mean? Like, is that, that makes sense?
And I don't know the full context of the Bible. I'm actually this year has been the first time that I've really dove in, and I'm trying to get a better understanding, and I'm only part way through it. And I'm going to have to go back. I'm listening to it on an audiobook, and I'm going to have to go back and play it back a few times because it's just, it's so hard to get a grasp understanding because it's from different periods of time. The stories all collided in one. So until you get through it all and then you know a little bit of it and you start diving in, it's going to be one of those things where you're peeling layers back.
But I would say, not necessarily you, but I've experienced, with a couple other people that are on the fresh trail, the new journey, let's really get into it. And for some reason, like there's like some type of, I don't even really know the word, like there's a hesitation almost, or there's like you want to make sure that you're saying it right. I guess. I don't know if it's like a fear of judgment or like don't know really how to call it, but like I would just say, man, just unapologetically just do it. You know what I mean? Like you're doing it for you, not for sure, what somebody's going to think about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like just, even if you do it a little wrong,
right.
I'm pretty sure that it's going to be okay.
You're going to. That's the thing.
Right.
Got to realize is that you're going to. We are doomed. You have to make the choice.
Playing the game, we're going to lose.
Like there's nothing that you can do except You know, and that's why that's what I lean back on. There's nothing that you could do except plug yourself into that infinite source.
Right.
And for me, and I have not been like this my whole life. I've been soul searching and coming to the conclusion, but I wholeheartedly believe that Jesus Christ, well, I don't even say Jesus Christ, that Jesus Christ is the consciousness. That's what we plug into,
Right.
in my belief. And I don't know, I'm still coming into belief, but I believe that he was killed and tortured for our sins, and so we could redeem ourselves as men.
Right. Yeah, I mean, like you said, I would just, don't hesitate, or don't, just, that's who you are. That's what you're trying to do. And if anybody out there, to me, wants to criticize for anything that we've said up here about any of this that was wrong, well, then are they really doing what they need to be doing?
Right,
You know what I
right.
mean?
If
Like,
this is wrong, then what is right?
right. Well, I'm just saying, like, if we were to misquote something, or we were to, say something out of context, and you got the keyboard warriors out there. It's like, oh well, actually in Matthew chapter 17, blah blah blah. That's not how it was. It's like, well, don't come at it. Don't come at with the hate. Come at with like, hey man, let me help you, not let me judge you.
No.
And I feel like that's there. That we're gonna speak broadly. That community tends to have a lot of judgment on people that, when they're supposed to not be that way. I feel like it's a little bit of
another issue. That's where man comes into
Right,
play.
right.
It all roots down from man.
Like, are you really trying to be out here and you're really trying to help people? Are you trying to do it for some type of status? But
Right. That's why it's important to check their fruits. You check the fruits from that tree, and that's going to tell you everything.
Right,
And that's deeper than just religion. You taking that workout advice from somebody, see how they're living.
Right.
If it don't show with them, then don't take their advice.
Right. But I guess also too, maybe do take the advice.
What not to do.
but if somebody has the fruit that you want, maybe you should listen.
Oh,
you know
yeah,
what I mean?
yeah.
Like,
Well, if the fruit is barren, if you
Right.
see the fruit that you want, then that's the proof is in the pudding.
right. Like we
And
talked about.
that was another thing that is helping me even jump deeper into my faith is compare the people who are deeply rooted into it. And I'm talking about the people who are showing the fruit, not the
Right.
people that you see on TV at church, or they're living the lavish life. I'm talking
Private jets and stuff.
the people who are really bearing fruit.
Right.
It's like, man, I want that. I want that fruit.
Yeah, I mean, like we said when we got first into this topic, as far as my look on it, it's a little different than most people, but I would say that there's not much negative that's going to come out of it if you truly are doing it for. That basically kind of sums up all of the things we talked about, like finding the purpose and moving with, what I'm saying? Like, it gives you all in one, like a one-stop shop, man. It's like, hey, man, if you go over here and you start reading this book and you start getting into this, like, everything that you're looking for, man, it's in here. Regardless, who cares if it's real, if it's make-believe, if you go and live like that, your life will
dramatically
be better.
Increase.
So what does it matter? Like you were saying, like, you know what I mean? Like, just treat people right, do right by people, and it somehow the universe will work it out for you.
Yeah.
So it's definitely, I don't see any harm in that until you invite the man, and you got the, hey man, you got Jesus came to me last night and said, if you don't give me half your check, man, the crops ain't gonna grow this year. You know what I mean?
Right.
That type of stuff. But I mean, that's
the man.
There's snakes everywhere in everything that you do, and so that there's no exception for that field as well.
Yep.
But I mean, I guess that kind of leads us into. I know you were wanting to go into your kids a little bit more.
Yeah. Well.
Do you want to share any of that stuff, or?
Yeah. Another reason that helped me get into my faith even deeper is my children, man. I'll start with my oldest son, Brandley, just his kindness. And really his mother too, but this dude's kindness from a very young age was just over the top, and it made me search inside and realize,
How
man,
old is he now? Just
he's 12.
12. Gotcha.
He's 12 in 7th grade. Great kid. And yeah, it's like I said, his kindness just opened me up to how cruel I am, and just really made me realize that I can be a better person. And now I'll bring it over to my youngest son, Lux. He's the one that's special needs, and just seeing the joy that this dude has. He's outside running around. It's almost like he's out there communicating with something that I can't see. That he sees something there that I can't see. And just watching him on a day-to-day basis has really grown my faith even more. And man, I can't thank God enough for my son Lux, for my son Brantley, for my family, for you, for this podcast, for everything that's going on. I hope that we can just all come together. Like,
Yeah, man.
I know it's so cliche. It's just like, but man, that's all I want. I want America to thrive and the world to thrive, and I want just all of the propaganda BS and them driving us apart. Just
Yeah,
to be
somewhere
done with.
along the lines in the history of man, we forgot to take a second and check on the people around you. You know, you get too caught up in the world and it's moving way too fast. Like the technology and the stuff that these kids have access to at 6 it's too much too fast, and it's causing us to stray away from the things that are important. And I feel like it reflects, like you said, about America and the propaganda. And we didn't always have, I mean, it's always been nonsense, throughout the history of man. But it seems like we're pretty good at messing it all up. Like we were talking about a minute ago, you one of the main issues you were having with your faith is man, not the faith. And
Right.
so, yeah, man, I just hope that I can see the ball rolling. I can see the momentum gaining. I can see the positive that we're doing. So hopefully it'll continue.
Yeah, man, it will. And like I said, regardless of what you or anybody else feels, what was happening right now is God's work. You are doing something real special, man. I've had people tell me how, they could see how you're making a real difference. So shout out to you. Keep
Shout
doing
out to
it,
you for
dude.
coming again, man.
Hey, man, I appreciate it. Like I said, I'm glad to be in the opportunity to be able to help out, because I know there are people who have felt like I felt my whole life.
Right. And then I guess, to anybody else out there, man, that seat's always open. We can talk about whatever you want to talk about, anything from darkness to Jesus, and everything in between. So I guess I can only do what the people around me want to do, because I mean, I can come up here and sit and talk by myself, but how much can I talk about my problems and my view on things before it gets to where it's like, all right, well, we know how he feels. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It takes more than just what I'm doing. So like any type of traction or any type of positive thing that we've done, it ain't just me. You know what I mean? It's everybody that's been a part of it. It's a collective group that we're doing it together. So yeah, and anybody else that wants to come up, man, reach out. We'll make it work.
Yeah, man. Get the conversation started and watch the fruit bear the tree. So.
Yeah, well, I think we covered pretty much everything that we discussed. Is there anything that you left out or want to double back on? Or
no, I think we're pretty good. You got anything that you want to?
No, man. I appreciate you again, bud.
Yeah, dude. Thanks for having me again. I might be back.